So in the previous, are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, visible.
Yes.
Yeah. So in the previous class, we have seen that what is Azure. As we know that Azure is a cloud computing platform. It is a cloud service provider which will give us resources in the form of services that is in the form of SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. So the Azure's portal is portal.azure.com. And coming to subscription, subscription is just like a meter which measures your usage of resources. So subscription is also a service which is provided by Azure. So these are the types of subscriptions which are available in the Azure. So postpaid kind of subscriptions are these three: that is pay as you go, cloud solution provider, enterprise agreement. Whereas coming to prepaid kind of subscriptions, those are Visual Studio and free trial subscriptions. So coming to resource groups are logical grouping of resources. Here you will group the resources logically based upon the usage and the scenario. So these are all the things. So few projects will maintain subscriptions for each environment. Few projects will be maintaining resource groups for each environment. So we have also seen how to create this free subscription. These are all the steps related to it. So that is all we have discussed on day 4. And now let's start today's class. Yeah. So today we are going to discuss about the Azure storage. So what are the types of storages available, and in detail about the blob storage, because this is the one which we'll be using most frequent. And after completion of this theory, we'll be doing lab related to this. So coming to this storage, Microsoft Azure Cloud offers several types of scalable, high availability storages. So the storages which are the types of storages which are provided by Azure are tables, queues, files, and blobs. We know that Microsoft Azure is our cloud service provider. So this cloud provider is offering us the several types of storages. So what are the several types of storages? These are all the 4 types of storages which are provided by Azure. So here it's telling that high availability and scalability features. So what scalability? We have already discussed, and again for an example, I have purchased 1 TB of hard disks. So what happens is suddenly I have received 2 TB of data. I have purchased 1 TB of hard disk, but suddenly I have received 2 TB of data. So what is happening here? Here I can't accommodate my 2 TB of data. So what should I do now? In order to accommodate the other 1 TB of data, I need to purchase the other 1 TB hard disk to store the remaining 1 TB of data. So what happened here is the demand came suddenly. You're not aware. I'm not aware of the demand which is coming. Now after you have received 2 TB of data, then I understood that my demand is 2 TB. So what is happening here? After I came to know that I need to maintain 2 TB of hard disk, then I am going and purchasing again 1 TB of hard disk. But in cloud, if you use cloud as your storage, you need not worry about all these things. You will store as much as data you have. So, depending on how much of data you are storing, the size increases automatically in the cloud. But whereas if it's on premise, you should increase your size manually by bringing up the infrastructure necessary. So, this is nothing but scalability. What is scalability? It is automatically the ability to increase the size. So, coming to what is this high availability? So what is this high availability stating is your data will be available most of the times. That is 99.99999 of times you will be able to access your data which you have stored in your cloud. Very rarely you might not be able to access the data due to some issues. That is very rarely. So how are you going to store the data? Okay, you told me that on-premise is not good, so you won't be having the scalability and high availability features. So you asked me to store the data in the cloud. But how will you be storing the data in the cloud? So these are all the forms in which you will be able to store the data in the cloud. That is, you can store the data in the form of files, queues, tables, and blobs. So these are all the features of the storage. So here you can see it's durable. What is meant by this durability is even in case of any failures on Azure infrastructure side, you won't be affected by it because they'll be maintaining many copies of your data. That is, redundancy will be made available. So that is the reason, even in case of any hardware failures in Microsoft, your data will be durable enough to withstand those all failures. And coming to security, the data is encrypted. So what is this encrypted is, whenever you store the data in the cloud, it won't be stored as it is. So some encryption will be done in order to secure your data, and then it will be storing that encrypted data in the cloud. So coming to scalability. So what is scalability? We have already discussed. It is the ability to increase or decrease the size based upon your demand. So it can handle petabytes of data. So cloud can handle petabytes of data. But if you want to do the same thing in on-premise, it requires a lot of infrastructure for you. So coming to managed, who manages all this storage? Microsoft will manage the infrastructure, and you will be paying for the things which you use. And how will you access the storage? So Azure storage can be accessed via APIs and SDKs. Okay, so are there any doubts still here? Guys, any doubts?
No, no, no doubt.
No, sister.
Okay,
Continue.
so let's give an overview on like what are these all. So coming to a table storage. So what is the table storage? If you have the structured data, you can store in this table. Then you guys can ask me. So for we are having Azure SQL to deal with the structured data. Then why are we again having this table storage? So it is a NoSQL store. That is, so what kind of data you can store in a databases? You need to have a defined schema to store your data in the databases. But if your data is not having a defined schema, so your schema changes. Whenever you enter the data into the table, the schema changes. For example, if you're taking two fields, one is what one is the name, and the second one is the address of a person. So what happens here? The first person will be entering the name and address. He will be giving his home address. When coming to the second person, he will enter his name, and in the second column, he will be giving his email address and his phone number. So what is happening here? The type of data which is being inserted into the same column is not of same type. So the type of data which is being entered into that column is differing. So that is the case. You use the stable storage. It is a NoSQL store. That is the schemaless storage. So if you have a structured data, but the structure is not having a particular schema, but the schema is being differed, so that is when you use this stable storage. And coming to this queue. So what is this queue? Queue is a messaging service. So if a service is sending a message to other service, before sending the message to another service, you want to use a staging layer. So this queue acts as a staging layer. To keep all this particular message in the queue, you will use this service. So, for example, a communication is happening between two applications, application 1 and application 2. So, application 1 is sending data to application 2. So, while application 1 is sending messages to application 2, what we will do is we will maintain a staging area which is called as queue. So application 1 will bring all the messages and keep it in the queue. So from this queue, the messages will be sent to the application 2. So why? What is the need of this queue is it will maintain the position. So first position will be first message will be sent first, second message will be sent second, and also no messages will be missing. All the messages which are present in the queue will be sent to the second application. So this is the use of queue. So it is just like a staging area where you stage all your messages from an application. So coming to files. Um, file. So if you want to move the files present in your on-premise to cloud, or if you want to move the files present in cloud to on-premise, you can use this file storage. So you can also use this file storage for sharing the files also. And coming to the blob storage, so blobs are used to store any kind of binary or text data, like an XML files, JSON files, Parquet files, movies, audios. Any kind of binary data can be stored under the blob storage. So now let's see, like, one second, where are we? So we have covered these all things. Let's see about the blob storage. So what is blob storage? So these are not that frequently used in our projects. So blob is the one which is mostly used in our projects. It is very important and the most used one. Okay, did you guys understand these three things? So file, when you use this file, if you want to move the files present in your on-premise to cloud, or if you want to move the files present in the cloud to on-premise, or you want to share the files among yourselves, you will use this file storage. When will you use this queues is just like a messaging store. It is a staging area where you keep all your messages that needs to be sent to the other application. And coming to the stable storage, when you have the structured data and that structured data is schemaless, that is, you are not guaranteeing the schema. So if you are able to guarantee the schema, then you will be storing that structured data in databases. Since you are not able to guarantee the schema, that is the reason you will be going to this NoSQL store, which is the table. And coming to this blob storage, so now let's see, like, this blob storage in detail. So blob stands for binary large objects. It means you will be able to store any large objects which are of binary type. So for example, what are binary objects? Examples of binary objects: audios, videos, images. All of these are example of binary objects. So these are few real-time scenarios where blob is being used. The staging layer. So blob can be used as a staging layer. Oh, what is the staging layer is, for example, when you're loading the data from any storage to Azure Synapse. So to increase the to increase the throughput, you will be using something called as a polybase. So why you will use this polybase? For getting high throughput. That is to transfer the data quickly. We need to use a staging layer. So another example of the staging layer is, so this is present in one of the concepts which we have covered. Where we have covered the staging layer concept? Can anyone of you tell?
Oh,
Where? So in our previous classes, we have seen where the staging layer is being used. There is a concept which is using the staging layer. Which is that concept?
Staging layer is collect the data in the first layer, I think.
Yeah, which is that concept? In ETL concept, we have used the staging layer.
E
In
E
ELT,
is a abstract layer. Only extract the data in this layer, staging layer.
no, no, we are keeping the extracted data in the staging layer in ETL concept.
Yes, yes.
You will extract the data and keep the data in the staging layer. In ELT and ETL
So
concepts, we'll be using the staging layer now. So other thing is temporary storage. So if you want to store a file for few days, like for a week or a 2 days, if you want to store the file only for few days and later you won't be using that file, in such scenarios you can keep that file in the blob storage. And the other one is for storing backups and for taking backups you can, I mean, you'll take the backup of the system and store that backup in the blob storage. And also, why will you take backups? You'll take backups because in case of any disaster you can bring them back. So and also, if you want to stream any audios and videos live, you can use this blob storage. So saving images and also documents. So what is this? What does this
ma'am,
mean? Is
can you again explain the staging area, because this concept not be clear to me. So staging area.
see the staging area. What is the staging area? Is temp.
Mm-hmm.
See, if you take the concept of ETL and ELT, what are you doing in ETL concept? You are extracting all the data from the sources, and you are putting all those data into the staging layer. So
मतलब
staging
staging layer
layer is
is the storage.
temporary. It is just a storage where you temporarily store the data. Temporarily, you will be storing the data there.
So okay.
Just you'll
Fine,
take the
fine.
data from the sources and you'll dump the data here.
Mean temporary storage, it automatically remove the data, or we have to send the command to remove this data?
That things we'll cover. Like there are cases where it will store the data temporarily and all. So those comes under these all things. We'll cover it.
Okay. So any kind of operation we perform on that staging layer or not?
Yeah, definitely we'll perform. So if we take ETL, what we are doing, we are extracting all the data from the sources. We are putting in the staging layer. So on the staging layer itself, we are performing the transformations.
Okay.
So
So
coming to
transform.
this, yeah,
Okay. Fine.
yeah. Tell Gaurav.
Actually, I want to know that if we extract the data from the data source, and we put the data in the staging area, so any means we will perform the all kind of operation ETL in the staging stage, or other will perform the other layer, matlab, means other layer staging.
See,
That means
if
the steps in phases
getting,
in yeah, continue.
I have told you the example of ETL. It's just an example, but not that is not only the case where the staging layer will be used. So staging layer is just like a temporary area where you put your data. That's it. Don't
Okay.
think about it much.
It's a part of block
So
storage, right? Okay.
okay. So coming to this serving images and documents directly to the browser. What does this mean is, so if you have uploaded some image into the blob storage and you want to share it to your friend. So what you can do that then is, so whenever you upload anything into the blob storage, a URL, a unique URL will be assigned to that object. So if you want to share that object to your friend, you can directly ping him the URL which is associated with that image which you have uploaded. So, and here blob storage, there are three types of blobs. So one is blob, append blob, and the other one is page blob. So coming to this blob, let's imagine that you are trying to upload a movie. So when you're trying to upload a movie, what happens is the movie gets divided into blocks. So whenever you want to upload anything into the block, what happens is, for example, we are uploading a movie. So when you are uploading a movie, what happens? The movie gets divided into blocks. So each block size here is 4 MB. So anything which you upload to the blog, it it gets divided into blobs, and each blob size will be 4 MB. It is a constant. So for example, if you are uploading a movie of 128 MB, so 128 by 4, that is, it gets divided into 30 blocks. So when can you say that the entire movie got uploaded? So I have told you that movie is getting divided into blocks. When can I say that entire movie got uploaded? When all the subblocks gets uploaded, then only I can say that entire movie got uploaded. Let's assume that a movie size is 128 MB. Now if I divide this 128 MB by 4, how many blocks will I get? I'll get 30 blocks. So I can say that movie got uploaded once all these 30 blocks get uploaded. So if any block, so while all these 30 blocks are getting uploaded, if any of the block fails, then the entire upload gets failed. Even if one block failed, then the entire upload gets failed. If and only if all the blocks get uploaded successfully, then only you can say that the entire movie got uploaded successfully. So did you understand?
Yes.
So here I have put it in the sentence. So when you store a file in the block, that means it arrives on the storage in small parts. I have told you that anything which you upload in the blob, it gets divided into small blocks. So these small parts are the blocks. Only after you completely upload the file, the blob itself itself together, it puts itself together in one piece. So once you upload all the blobs, then it will combine all those blobs into one piece. With that architecture, file cannot be modified without a complete re-upload. So what does this means is that, is it possible for us to change a single block? So we can't change a single block, because while uploading to the blob storage, the entire file gets created in it gets divided into blocks. So you will not be able to recognize in which block the data which you want to change is present. So that is the reason. So if at all you want to make any modifications, what you need to do, you should change the file and completely re-upload the block there. And this is the most cheapest way to store your files in the Azure. And you can have access to the files but cannot change them inside the storage. So this is the thing. So why, when to use this blobs? You can use this blobs for storing backups and also storing the user files. So if you consider backups, you won't be changing the backups. So backup, what is a backup? You are just taking the data which is already present, and just you are taking that historical data and moving it into the block storage. So historical data, you won't be changing the historical data. At any cost, the data won't change. So that is the case where you will be using this block. Did you guys understand what is this block?
Yeah, yes,
So
ma'am. We
whenever
got.
you are Are we good to go to append blob? So just summarizing this thing, what is this blob is, whenever you are inserting any file into the blob, it just gets divided into blocks. So each block is of size 4 MB. So after all these blocks get uploaded into the blob, then all these blocks gets combined into a single file. And the other thing to remember is it cannot be modified. Okay, is it clear?
Yeah, yes, Shishira.
So coming to append blobs. So why are this append blobs? So previously, so for example, if you see that previously if you have uploaded half of the movie and now you want to upload the other
Excuse
half
me.
of the movie. Yeah,
Actually, ma'am, in a blob storage, if any storage, it divided the file into different partition. It means you say. So if
yeah, it
any
depends.
partition will be, yeah, if any partition will be failed, so means we cannot access the whole data.
Yes.
Okay.
So even if
Okay.
any block fails while uploading, then the entire blob gets failed. You should
Okay.
again
Okay.
re-upload the entire blocks, even if one block
Okay.
fails.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
So
Fine.
coming to append blobs, for example, previously you have your scenario is that previously you have uploaded a half movie and now you want to upload the other half movie. So this can be done in the blob. So there comes the concept of append blob. In append blob, you can upload the half of the movie at once and the other half of the movie at once. So in the blob, you won't be able to append the data. So if I store half of the movie now, and if I tell that I'll be storing the other half of the movie tomorrow, I can't do this in the blob, since blob cannot be modified. So if your case is that you want to append any kind of things, then you come to the blob. So the scenario where append operation takes place frequently is in log files. So whenever you want to maintain logs, what you'll do, whenever user does something, a log gets created and it gets appended to the log file. And the other user do something, it gets appended to the log file. So what happens in a log file, everything you do, the information gets appended to the log file. So this is the case where you go for the append blobs. So in this append blobs, it is good for storing logs or metadata. You need to append constantly. So whenever you need to append your files constantly, then you will go for append blob instead of blobs. Why? Because this blobs cannot be modified. Whereas coming to append blobs, this data can be modified. That is, you can append the data to the existing ones. So you cannot change the blobs without re-uploading it. However, there are situations when you need to upload the file on regular basis. So that is, we have taken the example of log files. So append blobs are where created just for that purpose. They are structured in such a way that the user can upload parts of data of the files from the end. So in this append blobs, if I want to upload my half of the movie next day, it is possible. I'll upload half of the movie now and the other half of the movie I'll be uploading tomorrow. So these both can be combined. What happens here, just for the first part of the movie, I can append the second part of the movie. This is possible in the append blobs. But okay, these are okay. Then
Ma'am,
coming to page blobs.
uh, one question is, what is the metadata means?
Metadata is nothing but data about your data.
Okay.
So it's like you're having a data and you want to know like what are the things related to
The
that data.
it may be a structure or unstructured. Both are the metadata.
Uh, I'll tell you later, Gaurav. So these are very basics.
Metadata means it will comes to this student name, all those things will be there, right? In a table, that thing. Column headings.
Okay. Row and column, tabular form data, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
I think. Okay.
So coming
Okay,
to
ma'am.
this
Continue,
page
sir.
blocks, coming to this page blocks. So now here the scenario is you want to change the blocks randomly. You want to perform the read and write operations randomly. That is where the concept of page blocks will come into the picture. To be able to modify any blob, you have to go with the page blob. So what is happening in the append blobs? You will be able to modify only the last one. You will be able to modify and append to the last blob. But if you want to randomly perform read and write operations on a file, then you go with this page blobs. So that is what I have written here. These are optimized for random read and write operations. So a file, if you are uploading a file, it can be maximum up to 8 TB. So you can upload an 8 TB file. Maximum size of a file can be 8 TB, which you are going to upload in the page blob. So okay, our difference is clear. So if you want to randomly perform read and write operations, you will go with page blob. If you want to only append the data, then you will go to the append blobs. So in the block blobs, these are just, if you want to store any data which is not modified at all, then you go with this block blobs. Is it clear?
She said I had a small doubt. Like anyway, for page blocks, we can use for append and block blocks, right? Because we can store it, but if we are not changing, also we can use it page blocks, right? So, what is the main? Is there any cost related or something? Why we are choosing block blocks instead of page blocks?
So I have told you no. See, if and only if your requirement is to randomly read and write, you'll go with the page block, and definitely cost will also be a factor which you need to consider. Definitely, this will be of higher cost when compared to this block. So this is the cheaper one. So
Okay,
the
okay,
next
got it.
cheapest one is the append block, and the next one is page block. This is the costlier one when compared to all of these three. Okay.
Yeah, okay, clear, clear. Yeah.
Since here you need to perform this read and write operations randomly, so you if you want to perform random read and writes, then you are you will be modifying the blocks here and there. Anywhere you can modify the blocks. So that is the reason it is costlier. But when coming to append blocks, you will just modify the last blob. So here identifying the blob will be easier in case of append blob. But in the page blob, to search the blob which you want to change, it takes time. So time and resources also. So that is the reason this will be costly when compared to these both blobs. Okay.
Ma'am, any real-time scenario of append block you can explain?
Yeah,
Can you
this
explain?
append blob, I have told you no. So if this logs, so if at all Amazon, let's take Amazon as an example. So
Mm-hmm.
Amazon will maintain the log files. So
Mm-hmm.
what will happen in this log files? So once you search a product, a log gets created and it gets uploaded to the log file. Then you search for another product. So what happens
Okay.
here? The other log gets appended to the existing file. So what is happening here? The data is getting appended to the log file. So this is one of the use case.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Mm, yeah. So now, let's come to like what are the tiers. So someone have asked me a question regarding this yesterday or day before yesterday. So blob storage account offers three types of tiers. What are these tiers? Hot tier, cold tier, and archive tier. So if you want to
Sira,
access the data very frequently, yeah.
sorry to disturb you. Your voice is breaking to me. Is this only for me or everyone else as well?
So is everyone able to hear me?
Yeah,
Or
No, yes, yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. Okay, fine. Your voice is fine.
yeah, we can hear.
Only.
For us, it's clear.
okay. So then I think it's from your end. You're not having your network.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
disconnect and connect back again then. Thanks.
Oh yeah, Ravi. You
Yeah.
can connect back.
You can carry on, Sisira, in the meanwhile. Yeah. Thank you.
So coming to these tires, we have three tires. These three tires are axis tires. So what do you mean by axis? Axis is nothing but you are just uh, using them. So when to use this hot axis tire, when to use this cold axis tire, and when to use this archive axis tire. So if you want to access the data very frequently, you will go with this hot axis tire. So for example, if you take an attendance sheet. So in attendance sheet, what happens? Daily you need to take the attendance. So daily you will be accessing that file. So in that case, what you'll do, you'll go with hot axis tire. So to define them, I mean to put it in words, out of three options, the hot axis tire is the most optimized for the data that is accessed frequently. So when your requirement is to access the data frequently, then you go with this hot access tier. It offers the lowest access cost but the highest storage cost. So what does this mean is whenever you store your data in the hot access tier, the storage cost is high but the read cost is low, and also you will be able to access the data very quickly in the hot tier. So if you want to access the data quickly, then you will go for this hot access tier. Okay, so if at all your use cases, if you are accessing the data frequently and also you want to access that data quickly, you will go with this hot access tier. But the disadvantage here is that it costs a lot. So that is the
I
reason
have one.
only the important data which you access frequently will be placed in the hot access tier. Yeah, someone?
One question. Lowest
Yeah.
access cost, higher storage cost. What does it mean here? When any data will get read right, that time also any cost affected.
Whenever data?
Read writes. I mean, when data get accessed, that time
Yeah.
also.
Yes. Whenever you even access, whenever you read the data also, see, read the data in the sense whenever you open that blob storage. So why will you open that storage? To read or write. So these are the only two operations for which you open a blob. So that is when you open the blob storage, you will either be using it for reading or writing purpose. So that is how this access cost in the sense read or write. So whenever you perform a read or write, the cost will be low, but the storage cost will be high. Okay, the cost which you need to pay for storing the data will be high, but the cost which is made for accessing the data, it will be low. Did you understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
So storage
Mean,
cost is
means
different, access cost is different.
access means, ma'am, we getting the data from the data source. Hello.
See, yeah. No, no, no.
Uh,
Accessing is something like whenever you are reading or writing, it is called as access. So, whenever access is just like you are using it. Whenever you want to use something, you will access it.
okay.
Okay. So, there are two difference. So, there are two differences between all these types which you need to concentrate on. So, the first one is like the cost and when to use this particular tire. So these are the two differences. So what is the cost and when to use a particular tire. So these are the two differences on which you need to concentrate. So here in case of hot access tire, when you will use the hot access tire to store the data which is accessed frequently, and here the access cost is less and the storage cost is high. Coming to cool access tier, so infrequently accessed data is kept here. For examples, hike. If you take our hike files, so when will you access this hike files? You will be accessing this hike files mostly once in a year or for every 6 months. So what is happening here? You are accessing your data very infrequently. So when you are accessing the data infrequently, you will go with the school access tier. So let me define this. This option is better suited for the use cases when the data remains stored for at least 30 days and is not frequently accessed. Compared to hot access tier, this tier offers low storage cost and high access cost. So here it's the reverse. The storage cost is low, whereas the access cost is higher. Okay, so frequently accessed data will be present in hot tier, infrequently accessed data will be present in the cold tier. Okay, did you get it? So are you able to understand
Yes,
what is
yes.
hot and cold? Frequently accessed data will be present here, infrequently accessed data will be present in this tier. Is it okay, guys?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, it's
So
okay.
coming to this archive tier, so if you have huge data, that is some historical data which doesn't need to be accessed immediately. So if your requirement is that you need not access the data immediately, but just you need to store the data. What happens here is you will compress the data and store the data. So why will you compress the data? Because anyways you are not going to use that data. It is okay for you even if it takes lot of time to access that data. Then you will go for this archive tier wherein you will compress the data and store. So what is the need, why do you compress the data is to reduce your storage cost. So if you want to reduce your storage cost, what you will do, you will compress all the historical data present and then keep it in the archive tier. So whenever you keep the data in the archive tier, it will take so much so much cost for you to retrieve the data from this archive tier. So let me read this, then you'll come to understand. So archive storage is designed for the data that doesn't need to be accessed immediately. So here, if your requirement is just to store the data, that is the historical data or any data which you need not access that immediately, this tier offers high data retrieval cost. So why the data retrieval cost is high here is because while storing the data in the archive access tier, what you are doing, you are compressing the data and storing here. So if you want to access the data, what you have to do, you need to uncompress the data. So since you need to uncompress the data, that is the reason the cost will be high. The retrieval cost will be high. and also higher data access latency. Since I have told you that if you are storing the data in the archive tier, it will be in the compressed mode. So, since the data is in compressed mode, you should uncompress the data. So, uncompressing the data will take a lot of time. That is the reason when you want to access the data present in this archive tier, it will cost you high. At the same time, it will take longer time for you to access the data. So that is the reason they have told us that if at all you need not access the data immediately, then only you go for this archive type. It is designed for use cases where the data will be stored for more than 180 days and it's rarely accessed. So if the data is very rarely accessed, then you can store your data in the archive tier. Okay, did you guys understand the differences?
Yes.
When to go with what?
Yeah,
So let me ask
I
you
got a
like,
question.
yeah,
I got a question on here. So you said accessing the data and storing the data. What about, say, for example, if we want to move the data from Azure storage to, for example, an on-premise or the vice versa? What does it come under? Is it like accessing the data or is it like storing the data? How does it goes?
it comes under the accessing the data. Since you're accessing the data and you're reading the data and moving the data, so it comes under the accessing.
Accessing the data. Okay. Um, so we have to pay for accessing the data and also for storing the
Storing the
data.
data separately. Yeah.
Okay. Does this cost depends on uh,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
storage
Different types.
medium
Yes.
or or the amount of data we storing?
It depends upon the
Say
storage
for
medium. It depends upon the storage medium. So for hot access tire, it will be different. For coal access tire, it will be different, and for archive access tire, it will be different. Cost depends upon the tire. It doesn't depends upon
oh,
the amount of data. It depends upon the different type of the tire which you are using.
okay. Say for example, if we got a SQL Server database and we are hosting some files of 100 gigabyte.
Okay.
If we are hosting on a blob storage, do they charge for 100 gigabyte or for the blob storage they are going to charge tire?
See, whenever you are creating a blob storage,
Yeah.
so then itself you will be giving this selecting these options. Like under the blob storage, these are the tires which are available to you. So
Okay.
how I can tell you is under the blob. So if you want to store your data in the blob, again you will be having these options. So under the blob, you will be having hot access, cold access, and archive access. So today while doing
Okay.
practical, I will show you like where will these
Okay.
options be available. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
So
Yeah.
again, under the append blobs, you will be having again these three options. If you select page blob, you will be having again these three options.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, now let me ask you like, where will you store the infrequently accessed data? In which tier will you be storing the infrequently accessed data?
What have you
Archive.
told?
The black block.
See, infrequently accessed data will be stored in cool access tier. Very rarely accessed data will be stored in archive.
Okay.
Okay. So, and the most frequently accessed will be stored in hot access tier. So, let me ask you another way. So, where will you store the compressed data? Compressed data will be present in which tier?
Archive.
Yes.
It's an archive.
Compressed data will be present in archive tier. And coming to this types of blobs, uh, So if you want to randomly perform read and write operations, which block will you use?
Randomly
Page
App-
blocks.
append blob, page
Facebook.
blob,
If you want to randomly perform the read and write operations, you will go with page blobs. If
page.
you want to append the data to the existing one, you will go with the append blobs. And if your data doesn't change any times, so if you the data which cannot be modified anytime, you will go with this blob. So I think it's clear for you now. Now let's come to this storage performance tier. So what are these? All are the options which you will be able to see when when you are creating a storage account. So coming to this storage performance tier. So how many of you know SDDs and HDDs, solid state drive and hard disk drive? Do anyone of you know what are these? Solid state drive and hard disk drive?
Hard drives. No, what solid? No idea what the
No,
solid hard disk.
no.
SSD won't crash.
Yeah. So let me explain you.
Hard disk is the
STDs.
storage device.
Yeah. These are the storage devices only, but there are two types of storage devices which are categorized into STDs, which stands for solid state drive, and the other one is hard disk drive. So this STDs will give you the better performance when compared to this HDDs. So the standard performance tier will be using HDDs in the backend. So this will be using HDDs, that is hard disk drives in the backend. So this premium storage performance will be using solid state drives, that is SSDs, in the backend.
Means we can read the data frequently from SSD.
See, from both of things you can read, but why again the segregation is, if you want your performance to be high, then you will go with this STDs, that is premium storage. So what do I mean by the term performance is that it offers consistency and low latency. So what is low latency is? Latency is the um, time which is required to access your data. So if you want the time to be less, then you will go with this premium storage. And if you are okay, even if it takes some time to access your data, then you can go with the standard performance storage. Okay. So these are the definitions you can go through. This tire is backed by the magnetic drivers and provides low cost per GB. So magnetic drivers in the sense HDDs, it will be using the hard disk drives to store your data, and the cost will be low when compared to this SDDs, solid state drives. So why is the cost higher here is, it the performance will be high, the time which you require to access your data will be less when you use SDDs. But in case of this standard performance tier, since it uses HDDs, the latency will be high. They are best for applications that are best for bulk storage and infrequently access the data. So if you are accessing your data infrequently, and it is you okay, even if it takes time for you to access data, then you will go with the standard performance tier. And if you need if latency is your concern, so you want to access the data fastly, then you will go with this premium storage performance tier. Okay. So is this okay? Did you understand when to go with standard and when you go with premium? So in the
Yes.
standard, this will be backed up by the data will be stored in the hard disk drives. When you use premium, the data gets stored in the SDDs. So latency here will be low and the latency here will be high. Okay, let's do a small demo, a practical session for 5 minutes and then conclude today. So are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is our portal. As soon as we log into our portal, you'll be able to see these things. So today we have discussed about the storage accounts. So you will open the storage accounts. So since we want to create a storage account, you can click on create option. So you will be redirect to this page. And I have told you that whenever you create a resource, it should be part of a resource group. That is the reason you are getting a star symbol here. So it is a mandatory thing for you to enter. So since I don't have any resource group, yesterday we have discussed like what is a resource group. Can anyone of you tell me what is a resource group?
Where we can group all the resources like storage account,
Yes,
ADF, and everything.
yes, exactly. So here we don't. So I did not create any resource group till now. Let's create a new one. Let's name it as demo one resource group. Okay. So here storage name. This is class 5 class 5 storage and region. So we have discussed about regions. So Azure has its data centers available across different regions. So the thing to remember here is, so all the regions won't be having all services. Few regions will be having few services and few regions will be having few services. For example, I may have the storage account service available in this UAE North, and when you come to this Brazil South, this service won't be available to you in Brazil South. So East US is where it is a may what to say it is a data center where all the services are available.
The
So
price
in
range is
East,
same for all regions.
no, price also
Cost is
differs
same.
from region to region. Price will also vary from region to region. East US is Azure's main data center. So in only this data center, you will be able to find all the resources in East US region. So I'm selecting my region as East US, and we have discussed the standard and premium. So what are the standard and premium? So if you use the standard, your data gets
So
stored in hard disk drives. If you use this premium, then your data gets stored in SDDs, that is solid state drives. So and also we have covered this concept of redundancy. So based upon the importance of your data, you will be selecting this redundancy. So I see that my data is not that important, so I'll be selecting this local redundant storage. So next, I'll go with the next one. So these are all nothing. You can just ignore them. You can just create it. So it will say take some time for you to enable this create option. it will make some validations and then enable this create option for us. So it has validated everything and enabled the create option to me. So I'll click on create. Now I'm creating my storage account.
I have one question here. In the
Yeah.
networking, what
Okay.
about if we want to disable the public access and if we want to allow it for particular few from view instances?
See, yeah, I'll tell you. There'll be a concept of security in blob storage where there you will be making settings regarding that. So mostly it won't be a role of an Azure data engineer. So security team will be there to take care of it. But anyways, I'll be showing you the options like
Even
where you can
even
do
for
it.
this resource group also duty of Azure admin, right? We are not going to create anything as part of data
Yes.
engineering, right? Azure
Yes.
data.
Yes. Even storage accounts also you won't be creating. Just you will be
Yes.
creating few, yeah, pipelines and all. But
Okay.
just as a data engineering, you should just know few basics. So that is the
Yeah.
reason we are
Okay.
creating. So
Okay.
once the deployment gets completed, you will be notified here. You can go to the resource.
Yeah, one question. The
Yeah.
resource group, what you told in the resource group, what we need to give?
So resource group is just grouping of resources. You are just giving a name to the resource group. That's it. Nothing is there in that. I'll show you that resource group also. Wait a minute. Let's
Okay,
cover this
I
concept
mean,
and
there
then
is
come back.
no convention, right, for the resource group?
So yeah, conventions in the sense, see, naming conventions will be maintained at your project level. So your project, based upon your project, they'll be giving you naming conventions which to be used. So basically, if it's a storage account, so if it's a blob storage, then underscore blob, like that they'll be maintaining. Okay, is it clear? So once you create a storage account, since we have discussed about blob storages, so in blob storage, what you have is containers. So all your blobs get stored in the form of containers. Containers are just like folders. So in our file system, whenever you open a PC, we'll be having our file system. So in our file system, what we'll be having folders to categorize our data. In the same way, you will be creating containers to categorize the blobs. So first you will be creating a container. So container name is, let's see. So let's take this container name to be, uh, see, someone has asked me like how to restrict the access to private. So here, this is the public access level. So here, if you want it to be private, you can select here as private, and these are the other options which are available. So I'm making it as private. Then I'll click on create. So what is this container is? Container is just like a folder. So here my folder got created. So inside the folder, now I can upload the things. So see if I want to upload anything, I can create an upload. So I can browse for the files. See if I've selected my day one file, then I'll open it. So it's same like the Google Cloud which you use. You'll just create a folder and you're uploading into it. See, it is showing an error that failed to upload. But why? Once again, let's upload. I think there is some error. So basically it is failing to fetch. I think there is some error in the file. Let me upload the other file. Showing failed to fetch. Let me share my screen. I think let me drag and drop the file, then I think it works. I don't know why is it failing. I think there is some.
We cannot see the logger. What was the reason?
Yeah. Second. So it's just showing that failed to fetch. So something like network issue might be
There
from
is
my
a by
end.
Or else
default
can you
lock
make it
for the
as that
container.
storage container as you are mentioned as private, right? Can you change the security level and try it?
Yeah. No. But that's not uh, the issue. Anyways, I've changed and re-uploading it. See, again it failed. Failed to upload one of the one
Created
logs.
it
Failed.
for the You have created it as a private container, right?
No. Again, I have changed it into the other. I have changed the access level.
Yeah, can you change it to private again? Because for me, with private, I got the success. Yeah.
But that is not the thing which is like the thing which is affecting. I think some issue from my server, and let's again refresh the thing and do it. So here I'll come to containers. So containers are just like folders where you can organize your data. So I have opened the container. So here I'll be uploading a file. So I want to browse for files. So I want to upload a file. Now I think it is getting uploaded.
Kindly refresh.
Yeah, now it got successfully uploaded. So some whenever you have some network issues, it fails to fetch the data. So that is the thing. So what happened here? I just create a folder. Inside the folder, I have uploaded a file. So in one of the points which I have told, I have told you that. So whenever if I want to share this file to any of one of my friends, so directly I can copy this URL here. So I can copy this URL here and share with them, so that they'll be able to access and view this file. Okay, that is the thing. And so coming to security aspects, you'll be having the shared access tokens. So if you want to make this blob available for a user for specific period of time, so only for this much period of time you want that blob to be available to that user, you will give the start date, expiry date, and you'll generate a SAS token and a URL, and then you will be sharing that to a particular user. So that's it for today. Just we have created a container. Container is where you can organize your files, and then inside the container we will be uploading our files. So all these files will be stored in the form of blocks in the backend.
It's
So that's
changed.
all.
Tomorrow
Yeah.
you tomorrow you can show how to access also.
How to
Same
access?
thing. Yeah.
How to access?
Access that same file. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So here we can see the things we have discussed. So access tier, it is the hot access tier, and the blob type we have selected it to be the blob. So blob is the default blob. So while creating, we did not select anything, no. So by default, it's the blob, and the default access tier is the hot access tier. Okay, that's all.
So from tomorrow onwards, we are moving to practical things, or it's a
Yeah. So mostly tomorrow, yeah, we will be learning the uh, important concepts regarding the Azure Data Factory, and then gradually you will be moving into the practicals. So from today and yesterday and today also we have opened the portal and we are doing some things now. So basics are absolutely necessary in your interview aspect. So these definitely there will be questions on these. Basically they'll be starting from these only, like what are all the blobs available, what is a blob storage, what is a file storage, what is a table storage. So from basics they'll be starting. So that is the reason these are all the important things we are covering. So once we cover, gradually we will be moving into the practicals. Tomorrow we will cover the important concepts of Azure Data Factory and also few things related to the Azure Data Factory.
Yeah, Shishir, I have
Okay.
one question here. We have created the storage here container. So how
Yeah,
much time we can keep it? I mean, is it free or is it chargeable or what? What is the point? How can we check?
chargeable. Anything you store in the cloud is definitely chargeable. So if you want to see the charge, how much it is
Or
taking
how
and
much
all.
free credit we have if we want to check?
So here you can, so once you open this notification tab, here you will be seeing. So this much is the credit remaining for me. So if you open this notification tab, here you can directly see how much credit is remaining for you. You can directly open this notifications tab and check here.
Okay.
So coming to this resource group, someone has asked me like what is this resource group. So here we have created a resource group name demo 1 rs. So if I open this resource group, so we can see that a storage account is there here inside the resource group. We have created the storage account, so that is the reason we are able to see here. So once you complete doing your practice, what you can do, instead of going and removing each of the services here, you can directly open this resource group and you can delete this resource group. So since I have tagged all my resource under all the resources under this resource group, now I am opening this resource group and just creating this resource group. So if I delete this resource, it will be asking my name. That is demo 1 rs. So once I give the name here and click on delete, the resource group gets deleted, and all the resources which are present under this resource group also get deleted.
uh, one more question, Siskina. These resource groups, right?
Yeah.
So, like in the development area, for each project, we will have different resource groups. How it will be like for development, one resource group will be there. Like
Yes.
so in the
Yes.
development for each project, one resource group. Huh? Okay.
Yes. For development environment, they'll maintain a resource group. For production environment, they'll maintain a resource group. And for UAT environment, they'll maintain a resource group. And few projects, they will be maintaining subscriptions for each environment. So for development environment, they'll be maintaining one subscription. For UAT, one subscription. And for that, one subscription. So
And
based upon your project scenario and your budget, uh, they will
so in each environment, we can have multiple resource groups also, or one resource group only. We have to plan everything.
only one resource group for environment.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's just logically you're grouping all the resources present in the development environment to one group. So that is the reason you'll be maintaining one resource group for one environment.
Okay, maybe the containers will be different, like for each project, like so there are different applications will be there, right, in the project, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
different teams.
containers. Yeah, containers and everything will be different, but resource group will be one for one environment.
Oh, okay, got it.
So
So
if I
okay
have a
guys,
two resource group, last
if you have,
see if I have a two resource group, okay, that means each resource group I'm using storage. So I need to pay two time, right?
so resource group, the need of the resource group is for governance and also for billing purpose. So
Okay,
if you
so
are
if I
using
have a
two resource groups, so bill will come differently for those resource group. So how will your bill look like is, for this resource group, for resource group 1 you will get this much amount, for resource group 2 you will get this amount.
yeah, okay,
So basically for governance and billing purpose, you are categorizing all your resources into resource groups and subscriptions. Okay, so now
okay,
this got deleted, this resource group got deleted. So once you go to home and refresh, you won't be able to see that resource group here, and also that storage account also will not be present. See, nothing is present. If you open storage account, you won't be able to see anything. And it has also updated me, it has given me the notification that these are the credit which is remaining for me. So okay, any doubts? Are we good to close? So are we good to close?
Yeah, yes, yes.
yes, yes,
I think we are getting some interest when we open all these things actually, like instead of theory.
Shishida, how you deleted that when I'm trying to delete the resource group? Where you got the
Ah,
delete option?
so if you see that,
In the
see
manage
it
view?
will be present in the resource group. So here, not in the manage view. So here are, okay, let me just, you will see there. So if I create something, just review and create. So here if I open this,
Hmm.
so see here I got an option of delete resource group.
Ah, okay, okay,
So beside manage view, you will have this delete resource group option. So you just,
okay.
so
Thank you.
once you complete your practice, you can delete all the resources which you have tagged under this resource group. So what is happening here? You are not individually going to each resource and deleting here. Since you have organized all those resources into a resource group, now we are directly coming to the resource group and deleting the resource group itself. So once you delete the resource group, all the resource present under that resource group will get deleted. So this is the reason why we are
Yes.
categorizing the things into resource group.